Arthur Paul Baker.
Arthur Paul Baker. And
That's
you've
correct.
always been called Paul?
I've always been called Paul. At that time, you have to understand, there was no such thing like this.
Right.
This is 1969. 68, I fell in love with music. I think it was 68 when I was starting to go to college. And the last year of high school, and I can distinctly remember walking through the grounds of my high school and hearing Jimi Hendrix coming out of a wall. And I just went, what is that? I'd never heard anything like it. So I was totally attracted to that. And then started listening to more music. And I loved music before that. But that was just a time period.
It must have been very exciting
Oh,
for
it was
you
really
growing
exciting.
up in England, which was the heartbeat of the new
My
music.
girlfriend, when Hey Jude came out, was Judy.
Oh my God.
I mean, what could be better than that?
Yeah,
You know, it was awesome. It was a lovely time. And one of my first gigs, live gigs, was to work with Jeff Beck. At that time in cinemas, they have pubs. So after work, you would go to the pub, which is actually like the lounge, like where you have popcorn now. You'd go have a pint and a smoke, go and watch the movie. And then when you were watching the movie, a band would come in and set up, and then you'd come out of the movie and have a few more pints and watch the band. You know, and some of the bands at that time were pretty amazing. Jeff Beck as a three-piece, it was great.
So
I worked for other companies. I did sound in England for a number of years, and then I moved here and did sound for a lot of local bands. Slan was one back then, and oh God, hundreds of bands really. And then I went on the road quite a lot. I started working with Rocky Mountain Sound, I believe, in '81, and started doing their tours for them. Powder Blues, Pat Benatar, bands like that. All the old crews. Yeah, yeah, and worked with them for a number of years, and then about '85 or so, I think it was '84, '85. I had a motorcycle accident. I was actually on my way to leave to do the Doucette tour. Doucette had just come out with his second album, and I was going to go do that. And just up the street here, actually 3 blocks, a guy ran a stop sign and plowed into me on my motorcycle. So I wasn't able to do the tour. So I went and started working in the studio, and that's kind of what got me into the studio game. I started working at Columbia Academy, which was then Water Street, yes, which was in Gastown. Lovely studio, gorgeous old console, and worked there for a couple of years, and then moved to Ocean, and did a tenancy there as manager of Ocean for a number of years. And during that time, I was working with, again, going on the road. It's the '80s; you had to go on the road. Mainly with the Paolas. I was with Paolas for about 4 years, I believe. And that was a fabulous time. Bob and Paul are just lovely guys. They're great to work with always. There's different roles. Engineer is an engineer. He's using his ears to take his instruments, which are microphones, preamplifiers, effects, compressors, consoles, to make things sound good. A producer is a much broader category. There's a lot of different types of producers. I've worked with a lot of different types of producers. There's the type that will take the song, completely rearrange it, rewrite the lyrics, and put his stamp on the sound of it and the arrangement and everything. A guy like David Foster, for example. And they have a touch of gold. It's amazing, but you hear a Foster song, you know it's a Foster song. You know, it's just done that way. Then there's other producers that take more of a backseat approach. and tend to let either the band or the artist, whoever it is, drive the ship themselves a little bit so that they get more of their character in it. And they're more of, organizational role as well as an artistic one. Not that they back off artistically, but of course they contribute that way. And there's lots of different roles to be played for a producer.
So as
Some producers, to be honest with you, some producers do their best work when they just leave everything alone. Everything's cooking, and it takes a very smart guy to figure that out. It's going so well, just let him go,
as a producer, which role do you play?
I play more of the secondary style, and one of the reasons for that is because I don't work with a lot of bands. I work mainly with artists, like a singer-songwriter or an independent artist. And quite often we will hire the band, like the A-Team, to come in and do it. And when you hire guys like that, in my opinion, you don't tell them what to do. The reason you hire them is because they do what they do so well. So you let them have their way. And I mean, sometimes they miss the ship and then you have to sort of guide them into place. But most of the time, you just sit back and enjoy the ride, Of course, you help choose songs, help with arrangements, and help scope out what instrumentation is going to be on each song, and et cetera, et cetera. But I tend not to tear the songs apart too much. Well, I founded Bakerstreet in 1990.
1990.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thing about Bakerstreet, it was basically built, and Sean knows this. It was basically built around Megan Metcalf. I had just come back from managing a company in Calgary for 3 years, and being a guy who lived on the road a lot, it was very rare to have money in my pocket, and I did. So I decided to buy myself a nice red Strat and teach myself to play guitar again, which I'd sort of sadly dropped. And I got a space at Rocky Mountain Sound. They had an empty room upstairs in their warehouse. And I put in the board. I bought myself an ADAT, a 16-channel Mackie board, and my red Strat. And then it was like heaven. Had enough money in my pocket I could survive for 3 months and just enjoy, So I sort of got, literally, the first day I got set up and I was upstairs, and I can remember sitting there going, wow, this is great. And my phone rang, and it was Jeff Gibbons. And he said, hey, he's a local artist. I hear you got an ADAT. Do you want to record me? And he was there within the hour. And I'm not kidding you, for the next 6 months, I didn't have a day off. That was one of the first ones we did. An artist by the name of Sam Massich, who's also an incredible martial artist. And they've disappeared now. Glenn Stace, who had a great first album come out about that time. And we worked with him and his wife, Tammy. Stephen Fearing was one of the first guys at that studio. And Tom, no, what's his name? Don Ross, who was a great guitar player, came over there. And of course, Robbie was there. Loverboy recorded at an old studio too. They came in there fairly soon after we got it going. About the first year and a half after that, they came in.